Doggo got back up like his spine wasn't just snapped and slammed Thomas to the ground by the face while saying he was feeling hungry again. Before he could start munching, he got blasted across the scene by a mana hit. He turned to see Leonard showing up late and dramatically talking about how he wouldn't let Doggo do as he pleased. But inside, Leonard was already shaking. Thomas told him to run before he got folded too. But Leonard hit him with a noble speech, saying he knew he might die, but he'd still make the same choice. That lasted for about 3 seconds before Doggo stepped forward, and Leonard realized he had, in fact, made the worst choice possible. Just when Leonard was about to become one with the pavement, a beast slammed into Doggo from behind. It was Kaisel, and before Doggo could even find his balance, my glorious king flew in from the air and kicked him straight into the dirt. Jin-Woo told Leonard to grab Thomas and get out. Doggo started pulling himself out of the rubble, whispering that he could smell the shadow monarch. Jin-Woo looked at him and clocked the killing intent but kept his cool. But then things escalated. Behind him, the bug lady pulled up, hungry for monarch meat, saying he always wondered what one of them would taste like. That wasn't all. Creepy Grandpa pulled in too. Now Jin-Woo was surrounded. The mana in the air got so thick the sky looked like it was holding its breath. Jin-Woo summoned all the shadows for war, but before they could move, Creepy Grandpa froze them all with one breath. He told Jin-Woo his soldiers were locked in place and couldn't do jack. Then Bug Lady showed up, salty as hell, talking about how Jin-Woo should have left her kids alone. She looked around at the Shadow Army and called it pathetic, said trying to stop them with this kind of force was disrespectful. Creepy Grandpa looked at Jin-Woo like he was talking to a confused intern, and told him flat out that Ashbourne might have been the strongest. But that didn't mean the rest of the monarchs were some weak side characters. That was cute until my glorious king shattered the ice like it was made of tissue paper and staring down the whole squad with no fear. Creepy Grandpa instantly went from smug to pissed. The mask dropped. His face twisted up like his whole plan just got ruined. Jin-Woo didn't say much. He pointed straight at the frozen fossil and dropped the promise with no hesitation. He said he didn't care what happened next. He was going to kill at least that one. Creepy Grandpa kicked things off by bringing out his frosty Minecraft mobs ready to throw hands. Meanwhile, Bug Lady was on her necromancer arc again, raising dead hunters like this was a budget zombie apocalypse. All of them rushed Jin-Woo at once, but Jin-Woo was moving through it all at a scary speed. He slipped through every attack and launched himself straight at Creepy Grandpa. But before the hit could land, Doggo jumped in and blocked him mid-air. They started brawling, and Doggo had the audacity to roast Jin-Woo's weapon, asking if he really thought some basic metal stick could hurt a monarch. The answer hit hard and fast, because Jin-Woo chopped his damn hand off mid-sentence. He looked at Doggo and said, if it were normal metal, maybe not, but this wasn't that. Before he could finish the job, Bug Lady stepped in and pulled Doggo out. While they stalled, Doggo casually glued his hand back on like it was a Lego piece. Now, Jin-Woo was officially surrounded. Minions everywhere and 3 monarchs watching him like dinner. Then the ice cracked. Baru crawled out in full demon mode and charged at Bug Lady, screaming about how she dared touch his king. Creepy Grandpa and Doggo froze up for real this time. The fact that Jin-Woo was rocking a commander-class shadow while being human shook them both to their core. Bug Lady tried to act tough, talking about how bad kids need discipline, but Baru sliced through her abilities like they weren't even real. He dropped to one knee in front of Jin-Woo and praised him with full loyalty, saying, even against higher beings, my lord never loses his shine. Then the minions came rushing, and both Baru and Jin-Woo cleared them like they were sweeping trash. Just when things looked stable, Bug Lady hit them with a sneak attack. She bodied Baru and sent Jin-Woo flying through a building like he was made of paper. He hit the ground hard, but got up just in time to block Creepy Grandpa's ice spam. Grandpa started talking trash, asking how much longer he could last against the double team. But Jin-Woo was already done with the games. He ran Creepy Grandpa through the heart and told him the one thing that never changes. He's not walking out of here alive. Creepy Grandpa rips the weapon out of his own chest and starts screaming at my glorious king like someone just stole his dentures. He goes full drama mode, shouting about how no human should dare talk back to a monarch. Mr. Aura Farmer notices the guy got stabbed straight through the heart and just shrugs like, oh well, guess that doesn't kill them. and launches another attack anyway. But before it lands, creepy Grandpa pulls a fast one, and suddenly Doggo appears behind Jin-Woo and slices him across the back. The moment blood hits the ground, Baru goes feral, but just as he's about to explode, some buggy weirdo teleports behind him. She calls herself Quarisha, says she's the mommy of every insect alive, and tries to act like Baru's long-lost mother. She grabs him all gentle and fake-loving-like and says she will still hold him even if he acts like a disrespectful brat. Meanwhile, Jin-Woo is on his knees getting folded by Doggo, who is serving up pain like it's his job. Doggo steps up to drop the final line, telling him it's game over. Desperate, Baru calls out to the squad like, "What are you all doing? Move your asses and save our king." Greed finally busts out of his frozen timeout, screaming that he's going to be the one to deliver the final blow. Doggo sees him and immediately clocks that Greed must have been some absolute monster in his past life. Creepy Grandpa starts getting nervous now that the big boys are crawling out of the ice. Tusk, Igris, and Iron all break free and join the fight. Grandpa turns back to Jin-Woo and tries to act tough, saying his wounds are fatal and that playtime is over. But then Jin-Woo smirks like he's got cheat codes and stands right back up fully healed thanks to that overpowered status recovery skill. Everyone watching the stream collectively loses it as my glorious king just tanks everything and keeps going. The whole city is getting annihilated as Monarchs and Shadows throw hands like it's a demolition derby. Leonard Nierman is standing back just watching the chaos unfold. Thomas Andre finally wakes up and asks what's going on, and Leonard hits him with the classic "this is the end of the world" line. Beck's watching too, wondering if this is still the same Jin-Woo he once knew. He always knew Jin-Woo could level up fast, but this was on a whole new timeline. On the field, the Shadows are finally getting the upper hand. The Monarchs can barely keep up, and their Regan isn't cutting it anymore. Quarisha starts losing her cool as Baru beats her down like he's got something to prove. She tries to finish him, but before she can, my glorious king steps in and hits her with some cryptic prophecy nonsense about a burning pillar and dying and whatever, but none of it really matters because he's still standing. Elsewhere, Lim Tae-gyu is watching the whole thing from a rooftop like some budget sniper, wondering if he should even bother getting involved. He's got assassins stationed everywhere ready to strike, but deep down he knows if they jump in, half of them are going to die instantly. Even Thomas Andre got folded, so what chance do they have? Lim knows it's now or never. But honestly, he's just stalling because no one wants to be the first to get body-bagged by a monarch. While Lim Tae-gyu was deep in his doomsday monologue, a hand reached out from behind and told him to sit down and just enjoy the show. He turned around, trying to figure out who had the audacity, but the second he saw their face, he froze like his soul dipped out of his body. Back in the war zone, every hunter in the area was just standing there useless, watching the fight like they bought front-row tickets to a gladiator match they knew they couldn't survive. Not a single one dared to step in. Meanwhile, my glorious king clapped Bug Lady so hard she had to regenerate just to be mad about it. She launched some weak poison attack, and the system even threw up a warning about venom still lingering. Jin-Woo looked dead in her face and said, "Poison doesn't work on me." Hearing this, Bug Lady lost her mind and charged at him, screaming about how she'll tear him apart. But halfway through her tantrum, she stopped. She realized Jin-Woo was pulling her toward him like gravity just chose sides. She panicked and said something about his authority being too strong, and boom, he slammed her to the floor and tore her apart mid-sentence. Her body started breaking into dust, and she let out her final words, talking about death being this heavy, dark thing that humbles even the monsters. Then she evaporated like bad internet, and the system dropped the message, "Monarch of Plagues defeated." Creepy Grandpa watched all this go down like he just got kicked out of his own house. He asked Doggo how the hell Jin-Woo could pull that off when he still wasn't using the full Shadow Monarch powers. Doggo gave him that fake reassurance, saying not to worry because my glorious king was exhausted. Then he grabbed Baru by the neck and started crushing him while trash-talking about how only weak monarchs rely on sidekicks. Jin-Woo saw Baru fading and had a horrible realization. This was just like what he did to Thomas Andre's shadow. He panicked and tried to unsummon Baru, but the system hit him with a cold message. You cannot retract the specified subject. Furious Jin-Woo leapt in and bodied Doggo, saving Baru at the last second. He managed to recall Baru before he vanished completely, but the damage had been done. Creepy Grandpa was now a full ice demon and told Jin-Woo he'd just cut the strings on all his puppets. He planned to trap the Shadows under his authority, force them into endless healing and resurrection, and drain all of my glorious king's mana in the process. He launched a massive attack and caught Jin-Woo by the arm, slamming him to the ground like a broken toy, thinking the fight was already over. But Jin-Woo got up and went right back in, only to get dodged and smacked so hard he was sent flying. He landed on his feet, but yeah, the damage was piling up. Creepy Grandpa stepped in, stared at him for a long time, analyzed him, and said his stealth skill must be burning through his mana. Then he jumped in, trying to end things fast. As they traded blows, Jin-Woo was reading his every move, but still wished he could move just a little faster. Creepy Grandpa hit him with some more ice magic, but by the time the attack landed, my glorious king was already behind him, ready to strike. But right then, he saw Creepy Grandpa smiling again and felt something bad coming. Everyone was standing there like they just watched a horror movie with no pause button. Even Leonard Norman looked like he was about to uninstall life, because somehow Doggo, the beast boss himself, the Monarch of Fangs, pulled up on Mr. Aura Farmer from behind and jammed his claws straight through his chest. Raken opened his mouth like anyone asked and said, "So this is what happens when your speed stat flops." Mr. Aura Farmer dropped his weapons like his Wi-Fi just cut out and looked down at the claws in his chest. His brain went full gamer mode, thinking his level was higher so he could tank it. Then Creepy Grandpa showed up, picked up one of Mr. Aura Farmer's daggers, and stabbed it right back into him like he was returning a library book. He smirked and asked my glorious king if he could pull another Uno reverse and heal like he just did. But Creepy Grandpa already knew that he couldn't. He just said that to feel superior. Creepy Grandpa then leaned close to Jin-Woo and whispered in his ear how he won't be able to witness the moment when their armies will arrive in this new world. He told Jin-Woo that when that happens, there will be a mountain of corpses. He then got into character and started monologuing for the live stream, talking about how there will be rivers of blood and mountains of dead humans. But then he switched it up. He said he had something special in mind for this country. He was going to freeze everyone one by one, trap them in endless pain, and turn the whole place into a living hell. And he wanted Mr. Aura Farmer to die angry, just to add flavor to the experience. While the ice was crawling over him, my glorious king just kept thinking he needed a few more seconds. But then his HP hit 0, and a system panel popped up with the worst news ever, informing my glorious king that he died. But then the second notification saved the entire season. Turns out the black heart he got had a secret cheat code. A passive skill activated. Bright light went full anime mode, and boom. The next thing you know, my glorious king is sitting up in the hospital like nothing happened. He looked around, panicked, trying to figure out how he was not 6 feet under after getting stabbed through the heart. For a hot second, he wondered if all of that was a dream. He looked around. The hospital seemed familiar to him. He then took a look at his chest. He was certain that he was stabbed through the heart. Just then, Jin-Chul showed up with another dude asking if he was awake. Mr. Aura Farmer was confused and started questioning reality. Where were the Monarchs? How was he still breathing and all that supernatural shit? He called Jin-Chul, the chairman, and asked what happened. But Jin-Chul hit him with 3 plot twists. 1, he was not the chairman. 2, he wanted to ask about some moving statues. And 3, how the hell did Mr. Aura Farmer know his name? Mr. Aura Farmer just sat there like his brain had been thrown out the window. Now that my glorious king was awake, Jin-Chul started explaining what had happened to him. He told him that as soon as they got the report, they dispatched the White Tiger Guild. And when they showed up, the whole scene was already cleaned out, like someone hit fast forward. But Jin-Woo made it clear that was not what he meant. Realizing the strangeness of the situation, my glorious king concluded that something was off. And my glorious king finally pieced it together. He was not just hurt. It didn't take his 2 brain cells long to figure out that he was time traveling. Seeing him lost in thoughts, Jin-Chul asked if he was okay. But Jin-Woo said he needed a minute. He pulled up his system and saw everything was still there. Same stats, same gear, even Kamisha's wrath still chilling in his inventory. Then someone walked in and asked why he was out of bed. It was Gina, and she was already on demon time, thinking he bonked his head in the dungeon. After she calmed down and took a good look at him, she deadass asked who he was. For a second, Jin-Woo had no idea what she was talking about. Then he realized she could not recognize him because he had evolved so hard, he was basically a new person. In the past, this transformation happened gradually, but this time around he popped out in his current form. so her reaction makes sense. Meanwhile, Gina continued her roast, saying how he was a loser crybaby in the past, but now he did not look like her brother. He just told her to stop tripping and said he was busy. He then told her that there is something urgent that he wants to do, so he needed to hit the Hunters Association. She asked why, and Jin-Woo hit her with a bomb. He said he was quitting the hunter life, told her to go back to school, and even called out Han Seong-yi by name. As he was walking out, he turned and told her to never throw away her future trying to chase monsters. She looked shocked. The poor girl had no idea how he knew her name. Jin-Woo just pulled his hood up like a boss and started planning. He thought about how now he has no shadows, soldiers, no army, so it was time to rebuild. He headed out to the association to get his rank checked again. The staff started panicking like their machines were about to explode. The staff started talking about themselves and how this is the first S rank in 2 years, and even the scanner tapped out trying to access his strength. Just like in his past life, the staff told Jin-Woo that they wanted to run the test once again with a different machine, but Jin-Woo told them he wanted to meet the chairman before running it back. They offered to guide him, but Jin-Woo already knew the way. As he walked off, they whispered, wondering how some random dude knew the chairman's location. In the elevator, another man joined him. This guy was mentally writing fanfic, trying to cook up another lie for the association. He thought if Chief Inspector Wu caught him, he was finished. Then my glorious king opened his mouth and casually said he knew about the stealth skill he never reported. The man froze and went for his weapon. Asked how he knew. Jin-Woo did not flinch. Told him in the future someone would beg him for revenge. And while he could do whatever he wanted to the criminals, if he ever laid hands on innocent hunters, he would die. And the one who would kill him was standing right there. Kang Tae-shik damn near pissed himself. When my glorious king hit him with that threat, he asked who the hell he was, but Jin-Woo just walked off like he didn't have time for NPC dialogue. Meanwhile, Tae-shik just stood there looking like he just got ghosted by a ghost. Then Jin-Woo rolled up into the chairman's office and locked eyes with the chairman. As he saw him, the dude got emotional, thinking how he had not seen him in ages. The chairman noticed him pulling up post-evaluation and assumed he already knew the process. He tried checking in on him, but Jin-Woo shut it down and said it was nothing. Meanwhile, a system panel popped up in front of my glorious king, asking him if he wanted to restart the world, but he paid no attention to it and immediately started pitching business like a menace. He asked Gun-hee to change the rules so that summoned creatures can also be counted as full raid members, saying that if he does that, in return, he would solo Jeju Island and erase the ant infestation from existence. Seeing that Jin-Woo was full of himself, Gun-hee got mad and told him to stop talking crazy, saying that island was a graveyard full of failed raids. But then he looked closer. The mana leaking off Jin-Woo was unreal. Jin-Woo told him this was a one-man job, and he was the one to do it. Seeing my glorious king's aura, the chairman knew right then and there. This was not just some prodigy. This was power beyond the national level. As he sat there stunned, flashbacks hit like a highlight reel. Jin-Woo saving Ju-hee, surviving red gates, cooking orcs, turning bosses into shadows, saving his mom, and slapping up Baru on Jeju Island before claiming him and the rest of the insects. All the while, the same damn system panel was annoying him, asking if he wanted to restart the world. But